Hello! My name is Sneezy Gamer, and welcome to Path of Exile Facts, Lore, and More, Act 1. The reason why I'm making this series of videos is because I feel like a lot of people who play RPGs don't really stop to read the storyline, and they miss it. Path of Exile actually has a really interesting storyline, so lucky for you, I'm here to tell you all about it. Let's get started. The story all begins on the Twilight Strand. After being exiled to the forsaken continent of Rayclast, you wake up on the shore next to another exile. He tells you that nearly 24 exiles were thrown overboard. The two of you are the only ones who made it to shore alive. The reason behind your exile depends on which class you decide to play, as each class has a different backstory. At first glance, nothing much is going on in the Twilight Strand other than large packs of zombies and crawling crab-like monsters. When you finally reach the gates of Lion's Watch, something large and brutish stumbles towards you. This giant creature is known as Hillock. But who is this husk of a man? Why is he here? When you take your first steps into Lion's Watch after defeating him, you will see logs with letters of exiles posted on them. If you click on the notes long enough, you will find one with the name Hillock of Slaw. The note informs us that Hillock is as bad as he is big. He was found guilty of 6 counts of common homicide, 1 count of infanticide, 2 counts of homicide with post-mortem desecration, 12 counts of extortion through threat of mortal harm, 7 counts of armed larceny, 2 counts of armed larceny resulting in mortal harm, 4 counts of rape, and finally 1 count of rape resulting in mortality. No wonder the people of Lion's Watch are so grateful you finally put this not-so-gentle giant to rest. Once you leave town, you find yourself on the coast of Rayclast, where you are attacked by more zombies, skeletons, crab-like monsters. This time the crabs are being controlled by brainwashing parasites, but more unnerving than being eaten alive by hungry crabs, cannibals begin closing on you in the blink of an eye. The strange thing about these people is that when they are killed, a black spirit is released from their bodies. Why is that? Well, if your exile gets to know Haku, you will find that he knows the truth about them. Why don't I just let Haku tell you himself?
It is Kitava who rules this place. His black spirit is everywhere. In the claws that draw our blood, in the minds of those men and women who would eat our flesh. At first I thought it was Calm who led the god of corruption to this land. No, Kitava was already here, and he remains here still. A cannibal, feasting on the corpse of Rayclast. He awaits us all, growing fat in the darkness of Rayclast's blackened heart.
There is one cannibal who sticks out from the rest. Her name is Fire Fury. Now, try not to get lost, but if we skip ahead to Act 4 in Calm's dream, you find that Calm is led by Fury and Rage. This is symbolized by the area being filled with fiery monsters and spells. I think a small part of Calm's fury found its way into her head. Which would explain why she's casting Firestorm on you. If you stop and read Lavianga's withered carvings scattered along the coast, you find that this is the location where Calm and the Karui war hosts landed on Rayclast to invade the Empire and slay the Eternals. There are broken canoes scattered along the coast. Bastel talks about a man named Dr. Shaky Hands Optin. Of course you know he's talking about Halarake on Tidal Island, who drops the medicine chest Nessa wanted you to get for her. Along the way, if you stop and look at more of the withered carvings, you will find that Karui decorate their meeting houses with the Empire's dead citizens' heads. One example of this can be found by the campfire Fire Fury guards. The Mudflats holds another one of Lavianga's carvings, which says that the Karui went into the submerged passage. I can't find any information on the glyphs and their origins, or why they unlocked the passage into the caves in the first place. Nor could I find any information on the necromancer in the fetid pools. I have come to the conclusion that the pools is a reference to the Den of Evil from Diablo 2, which might be the inspiration behind Path of Exile in the first place. The Brood Princess wanders about the submerged passage. She is the first of Mervel's favored daughters. I will talk more about Mervel and her tale near the end of the video. The Karui travel across the ledge, leading them to Axiom Prison. The Karui would give their dead to the birds to feast on, as they saw birds as messengers of a sky spirit or god. In other words, the bird would eat the corpse of a fallen Karui, and it would take them up to their form of heaven. This may be why we see birds skewed to the ground. The spike is preventing the Karui spirit from leaving the earth. Now, when you first enter the climb, you might not think much of it, but this area holds one of the most important parts of Rayclast's history. This is where Marcius Lionei confronted Calm and his warhost, which is the main storyline in the Path of Exile comic Volume 1, The Karui Way. Marcius is an expert marksman and knows the Karui Way is to fight axe to axe, face to face, no archers. He used the advantage of range to rain death upon the Karui. Cursed with overconfidence, Marcius orders his men to chase them back to the sea. It is against the Karui Way to retreat. A man must kill face to face, but it doesn't say anything about women. Hyrie, Calm's niece, and the rest of the women pelt Marcius and his foolish men with arrows from the rocks, while Calm and his men swing wild axes at their throats. Marcius was defeated, but still won a place for his head on Calm's belt. The name Lionei came from replacing his left eye with a golden-hued gem, though in the comic it is light blue. The second line of defense was a thaumaturgist named Shavroni, from a group of people or a location known as Umbra. Now this is a direct quote from the Path of Exile wiki page, which I will post in the description below. Shavroni realized that Lionei would fall to Calm. She raced to the next defensible structure up the coast, Axiom Prison. She convinced the warden, Brutus, into enchanting him into the monster capable of defeating Calm and his warhost. Shavroni created the thaumaturgic barrier that blocks Prisoner's Gate and the Western Forest as a third line of defense. There is no proof that Calm ever entered the prison, but there is proof that he went beyond the prison into the ship graveyard. It is here we meet Piety for the first time, reading Shavroni's journal. She notices you and leaves the scene after telling you to send regards to Brutus. As you move forward, you see bodies of Ebony Legion soldiers lying about. Brutus must have killed them, all while Piety escapes. Why is Piety and the Ebony Legion investigating Rayclast? Do they know about the Black Spirit and its power? Are they trying to use its power for themselves? Or are they already corrupted by its overwhelming power? The Prisoner's Gate is directly after Axiom Prison, and is connected to the Western Forest from Act 2. You find Piety again reactivating the berry Shavroni originally made to block Calm, now blocking your way inland. Reading the last of Labianga's carvings found in the ship graveyard, we find some disturbing news about the situation Calm and his people are faced with. The Karui have went back to their old ancient ways of cannibalism and rituals only performed in the most desperate of times. Calm received a vision from the ancestors, but Calm was deceived by the black spirit Kitava. Calm led 500 of his warriors into the depths of Rayclast, making King Leonidas and his 300 look like a bitch. His niece, Hyrie, led the rest of the people back to their homeland, Na Nakmunui. Near the coastline, you find a maroon ship and a captain named Fairgraves. He tells you a story about a slave girl he rescues from the flesh pits of Tarthus. Now, I hypothesized the flesh pits is some sort of brothel. She was most likely working as a prostitute against her will. She betrays Fairgraves by turning his first mate against him, then running off with his precious Allflame. Fairgraves stole the Allflame from an inner Empire cathedral. He placed it in a lantern of pure silver. The flame would consume any other element. The Allflame is unable to give Fairgraves his life back until the Allflame is first kindled with life. Your life. If what Fairgraves says is true, the stone around Merville's neck is what transformed her into the wicked, sick, nasty creature that she is now. The necklace was a gift from the daring Duresso when he proposed to her on one knee, after he was crowned the King of Swords in the Grand Arena. If you want to hear more about Merville and Duresso's backstory, I will post a link to her wiki page in the description below, along with a link to Reddit confirming the story is written in 2009-2010 by Brian Weisman, who works for Grinding Gear Games. I highly recommend going and reading the story because it is a direct connection with Duresso, who we will find in Act 4. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope you found the history of Act 1 enjoyable. If you liked it, there is another video where I go way back in Ray class history. Act 2 is just a click away. See you next time.